We are the independent West Midlands Race Equalities Taskforce, and this is our strategy for tackling race disparities across our region. The Taskforce was set up by the West Midlands Combined Authority Board to take action to improve equality of opportunity for all. We were launched with the vision that in the West Midlands, race, ethnicity and heritage should never be obstacles to having a fair start in life or the opportunity to reach your full potential and flourish. This means that tackling the race inequalities that make life more difficult for about 1.3 million people living in the metropolitan area. Evidence clearly shows that people who experience race inequality face additional barriers to success, from finding it more difficult to access good jobs, transport or housing, to having poorer experiences of education, health and criminal justice. Our role as a task force is to work with a wide range of partners to break down those barriers and find new ways to tackle race inequality on a regional scale. We will focus on the issues where the Combined Authority and its partners can make the most impact. Our strategy identifies a number of priorities and ambitions for our region. These cover jobs, living standards, skills and education, health and well-being, housing and homelessness, transport, criminal justice, and also our three cross-cutting priorities, which are to improve data, advance leadership diversity, and build cultural intelligence. These are big ambitions, and we need to work in partnership with a wide range of public services, voluntary agencies, businesses and communities to bring about real, lasting, tangible change.
So people have a different perspective about transport, jobs, skills, education, well-being, health. So all of these things are real things that the Combined Authority has control over, but they have a completely different perspective if you're a commissioner or you have the money and you're trying to spend that money well. You've got the delivery people who are delivering services, but they have a different perspective because they're dealing with the commissioner, but they're also trying to satisfy the beneficiaries. And then you've got the people who benefit, who feel like they're not benefiting, or it's not designed the way they want, the service isn't designed the way they want, they can't consume it, and actually there's not enough money. So this has been designed to get everybody talking. What success looks like, from my point of view, is that the stories change. That people are saying, actually, my life is working better because my transport's actually aligned to where I want to work. I can work locally, I don't need to travel to London anymore. I can get what I need, I can get around, my family's happier. Those are all real stories.
We were tasked with defining what skills are, and we all had our own definition from different points of view. I gave sort of a very educational, definitive response, and some people thought of it more fluidly about access opportunities and different types of skills that aren't just box definition. So it was all about seeing how we all think, and from that we sort of gauged, okay, how can we work together now, given our different perspectives, to sort of give a framework to how we can sort of shape skills in an ideal world. I feel like with skills we need to look at it in two ways. I feel like there's schools and there's everything outside of schools, so reforming the education system to fit the standard of what today's jobs require, and being able to provide access to opportunities if you aren't in school. It's about adapting education to suit individuals and communities.
So we sat on our table and we asked ourselves the question, what is housing? What does it mean to us? And what was really interesting is that we all came up with the answer about sanctuary, safety, security. And when we actually sat back and we said, well, are we saying this from our lived experience? Are we saying this is what people should have and should want? Or are we saying this is what it is? And that opened up some really interesting points. And I think, again, we all have a really consistent understanding of what housing should be, but we just accept that it isn't the way. And that's something that we certainly all took away to say we need to challenge this a bit more. Certainly from my role in a housing association, I can go back and try and influence and impact the change within my organisation. Also influence my colleagues and other people within my sector to ask those challenging questions.
I work in policing, so my role is about scrutinising the work of West Midlands Police, making sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, holding them to account. So I want to see things like stop and search, being the disparity, stopping around things like stop and search. I want the community to know that they can hold the force to account for what they do. I want them to know that they can challenge policing behaviour. So that is one of my major goals from today. I get a really good feeling about the task force and the work that they're doing. Everyone is here because they want to see change. Everyone is here because they can see the things that need to be done. And what we're looking at is how we're going to do that. How do we implement change? How do we make a difference? But also, how do we make this believable and credible?
Over the past year, we have been working hard to develop a strategy for how we can bring together a wide range of partners to find new ways to tackle race disparities on a regional scale. We have developed a 5-year strategy that sets out the way we plan to do that. It outlines, firstly, who we are and why we were set up. Secondly, the priorities we will focus on. Also, the partnerships we need to build and make change possible. And finally, our priorities for action, which are the next steps we want to enable, influence and mobilise. Our strategy has been informed by independent data, a community listening event, the expertise from our task force members, and a series of workshops.
We invited people that sometimes don't feel like they get a chance to speak, they don't get a chance to be heard. We tried to be as wide as we could in making sure that lots of different voices were represented. And I think the big thing about today was that we weren't focused on one endpoint. This was an open conversation, an open start. We know that there's more work to do and more work to follow. I feel like we came away with more questions than we answered, but that fills me with really good vibes. Like, it fills me with the vibe that people have got more to say, they've got more to talk about, they've got more to share. And I really want to take that feeling and those unanswered questions and the new questions that we created and keep this conversation moving and keep it fresh, keep it relevant, keep it open, keep it diverse, and try to really get some more of those answers.
As part of the Race Equalities Taskforce, today really is just an opportunity for us all to come together and really refine what our future roadmap is going to be for delivery. I think everybody here today is very passionate about the Race Equalities Taskforce. We're all very passionate about making a difference, but I think now is really that critical time to agree. What is it? What does our delivery plan look like? We had an amazing session a few weeks ago where we actually spent time listening to the communities that we want to make a difference for. Now we need to make that tangible and make sure that we actually deliver back to those communities. I'd like to see that as a collective, we have been able to make some tangible differences by delivering some real projects where actually we can demonstrate the impact, the difference that's made to the communities that we're focusing on.
As a product of the West Midlands, I'm a South Asian woman who experiences disability. A lot of this is my lived experience, and I want to ensure that other people aren't facing those same barriers and challenges as I did. So today we focus on what are some of the challenges and what are the solutions to those challenges. And we were also asked to create a statement of what we want the West Midlands to be. And ours was along the lines of, imagine a West Midlands where you were valued for all the things that made you who you are. There's some amazing people in the room from all different walks of life and different roles and backgrounds. What I really hope is that everything that we've come together to achieve is put into the strategy, and the West Midlands Combined Authority and all of its partner organisations really take it on board, and systemic barriers are removed for those people that are experiencing them.
We have asked the leaders of our region for their support and commitment to taking further action to address race inequality, and I'm delighted to say that we have their full support. And so this is just the beginning. We are determined to bring our strategy to life, and we know we cannot do this alone. Looking ahead, the biggest risk now is inaction. We are determined to bring our strategy to life and hope that our strategy is a real call to action for the whole of the West Midlands. We are calling on everyone, public services, the voluntary sector, businesses and communities, to share what good activity is already happening and to improve the way they work so that we are all doing more to tackle race inequality. Together, we can make our region a fairer place for all and work towards our vision that in the West Midlands, race, ethnicity and heritage should never be obstacles in having a fair start in life or the opportunity to reach your full potential and flourish.